I stand frozen at the entrance to Silver Ridge Vineyard, my hands clutching my phone a little too tightly. The Montana sunset paints the sky in soft oranges and pinks, illuminating the rows of grapevines that stretch toward the mountains. Workers move about arranging wildflowers for tomorrow's wedding, my daughter Sophie's wedding. Everything is perfect. Or at least it was, until I spot the gleaming white Porsche Taycan winding up our gravel driveway, dust billowing behind it like a storm cloud. My sister has arrived. The car comes to a stop with a crunch of gravel, and the driver's door swings open. Lydia steps out, her designer gown, which I know without asking costs more than most people's monthly salary, catching the fading sunlight. The pale blue fabric shimmers against her tanned skin as she adjusts her sunglasses and surveys our vineyard. "Catherine," she calls, air kissing both my cheeks when she reaches me. Her perfume, something expensive and French, overwhelms the natural scent of grapes and soil. "This place is so quaint. Just adorable what you've done with Dad's money." I smooth down my simple cream dress, suddenly aware of how plain it must look beside hers. "Thanks for coming, Lydia. The ceremony isn't until tomorrow, but we're having dinner with the wedding party tonight." "Oh, I know." She turns, waving toward her car where a thin man in an impeccable suit is emerging with a leather portfolio. "That's exactly why I brought Jerome. He's the most sought-after wedding planner in Los Angeles. The waiting list is normally 18 months, but he owed me a favor." My stomach drops. "A wedding planner?" Lydia pulls a gold envelope from her handbag. "Wait until you see my surprise. Jerome has some wonderful ideas to elevate this whole." She waves her hand vaguely at the rustic barn we've spent months decorating. Situation. Before I can respond, Jerome strides past me toward the reception area, already speaking into his Bluetooth headset. I watch in horror as he begins directing the workers, pointing at the wildflower arrangements they've just finished. "Oh, real flowers? How rustic?" Lydia says, her voice dripping with condescension. Jerome usually works with preserved orchids flown in from Thailand. Much more elegant. I open my mouth to object when Ethan appears from the direction of the pastures. His jeans have a smudge of soil on one knee, and his boots are dusty from checking the fence line. His face breaks into a genuine smile when he sees me, then falters slightly when he notices Lydia. "Ethan!" Lydia exclaims too loudly. Several guests who have arrived early turn to look. Here's the cowboy himself. "How's the simple life treating you?" "Just fine, Lydia." He answers evenly, placing his hand on the small of my back. I feel the gentle pressure there, his silent support. "Catherine," Lydia continues as if Ethan hadn't spoken, "I was just telling Miranda you remember my friend from Vogue, about how you've embraced this whole farmer thing despite your MBA. She found it so charmingly eccentric." The words hit their target. My MBA from Harvard Business School, the accomplishment that had once been my pride. I remember graduation day, how I'd stood waiting for my family at the restaurant I'd reserved weeks in advance. Mom and Dad had arrived 45 minutes late, full of apologies and explanations about Lydia's big promotion at her investment firm. They'd spent the entire dinner talking about her new corner office while my diploma sat unopened on the table. That same familiar pattern, my sister shining while I faded into the background. Me, accommodating, stepping back, keeping the peace just as I always had. On his deathbed, Dad had clasped our hands together. "Take care of each other," he'd whispered. I'd taken those words to heart, perhaps more seriously than Lydia ever had. "We've planned this wedding for months," I say quietly, watching as Jerome removes a centerpiece to replace it with something from his bag. "Sophie loves wildflowers." "Trust me, little sister," Lydia says with a laugh. "This is for the best. Your MBA didn't exactly teach you event planning, did it?" I feel something shift inside me. A limit reached. A boundary finally recognized. My hands tremble, but my voice steadies. "Lydia," I say, the word coming out stronger than I expected. "This is Sophie's wedding. We've planned it exactly as she wanted. But surely she'd prefer something more sophisticated." "The wedding stays as planned," I interrupt. "Your planner can leave." Lydia blinks, genuine surprise crossing her face. Her mouth opens, then closes. For a moment, she seems unsure how to respond to this direct challenge. "Dad would be so disappointed in what you've become," she finally says, her voice low. "All that education wasted on cows and grapes." I feel Ethan's hand on my shoulder, warm and steady, and then I hear footsteps behind us. "Mom?" Sophie stands in the doorway of the barn, her expression concerned as she takes in the scene. She's beautiful in her casual jeans and white blouse, her dark hair so like mine pulled back in a simple ponytail. I look between my daughter and my sister, between the life I've chosen and the one Lydia thinks I should have had, between peace at any cost and the boundaries I should have set years ago. Everything's fine, sweetheart, I tell Sophie, my voice finding a new firmness. Aunt Lydia was just about to ask her friend to leave. Lydia's eyes widen. For the first time in our adult lives, I've refused to bend to her will. The balance of power has shifted, just slightly, like the first tremor before an earthquake. And in that moment, I know nothing between us will ever be quite the same again. I wake before dawn, my mind already churning with wedding details. Sophie's special day, a day I've been planning for months, and yet anxiety claws at my chest. I slip from bed, careful not to wake Ethan, and make my way to the kitchen. Coffee first, then face whatever Lydia has in store. The main house is quiet as I pour water into the coffee maker. Through the kitchen window, I can see the reception barn aglow with early morning light. That's when I notice movement, people already inside at this hour. Coffee forgotten, I make my way across the dew-damp grass. As I approach, voices drift through the open barn doors. Lydia's cultured tones rise above the others. And here's what it looked like when Catherine first decided to play farmer. She says with a light laugh, "Hardly recognizable, isn't it?" I step into the doorway. Lydia stands surrounded by several guests, Sophie's college friends, and a couple of distant cousins holding up her phone to display photos. Before pictures of our ranch from 15 years ago. The barn unpainted, the fields untamed, the vineyard just starting. Pictures I don't even remember her taking. Such a waste, Lydia continues, unaware of my presence. Top of her class at business school, and look at what she settled for. One of Sophie's friends, Taylor, I think shifts uncomfortably. I think what Mrs. Lewis has done is amazing. Sophie says the ranch is completely sustainable now. Lydia waves her hand dismissively. Oh, playing with dirt can be therapeutic, I suppose, but Catherine could have been CFO of a Fortune 500 by now. Instead, she's serving beef to tourists. I step backward, unwilling to create a scene. My foot catches on a loose board, and heads turn toward the sound. "Catherine," Lydia calls, her smile bright and false. "I was just showing everyone your progress with the place. Such a charming hobby farm." Hobby farm, the words burn. 15 years of blood, sweat, and innovation reduced to a hobby. "We should probably check on the flowers," Taylor says, clearly sensing tension. She and the others file past me with apologetic smiles. I wait until they're out of earshot. "Those pictures. Just showing everyone your journey," Lydia interrupts. "Your little experiment." Before I can respond, Maggie, our wedding coordinator, hurries toward us, phone in hand, and concern etched on her face. "Catherine, there's a situation." The caterers received some contradictory instructions. She holds out her phone. "These texts came from your sister's number, requesting several changes to the reception menu." I take the phone, scrolling through messages I never approved. Champagne replaced with an imported French vintage at triple the cost. Our grass-fed beef entree swapped for seafood flown in from the coast. Wine from our own vineyard exchanged for bottles from a trendy California label. I took the liberty of handling some details. Lydia says, not bothering to look apologetic. "The Four Seasons in Los Angeles uses that caterer for all their events. Your local options seemed limited. Cancel all of it," I tell Maggie. "Stick to our original plan." Lydia sighs dramatically. "Catherine, you're being provincial. Your guests deserve better than ranch food." "They're getting the best organic beef in Montana," I reply, my voice steadier than I feel. Maggie excuses herself, and I turn to confront my sister when my phone buzzes. A text from Uncle Robert. "Looking forward to celebrating today. The check is for whatever you need. No need to pay it back. Everyone wants to help during tough times." "What check?" I ask, showing Lydia the message. She examines her manicure. "I may have mentioned to a few relatives that the ranch has been struggling. People want to help, Catherine. It's nothing to be ashamed of." "We're not struggling." My voice rises despite my efforts to stay calm. "The ranch is profitable. We don't need charity." "Of course you say that. Pride has always been your weakness." I'm about to respond when I notice two men in business suits walking the perimeter of our property, stopping occasionally to make notes on tablets. Neither is dressed for a wedding. Who are they? I demand. Lydia glances over her shoulder. Associates of Richard's. Investors. She lowers her voice to a conspiratorial whisper. They're interested in portions of your land. The parts you're not really using. Richard says the southern acreage has excellent development potential. The pieces click into place like a lock tumbling open. The donations. The investors. The subtle undermining of our lifestyle. You're planning something, I say slowly. What exactly are you going to do? Lydia's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Richard and I thought we'd make a little announcement during our toast, a generous offer to take some of this worthless land off your hands. An investment opportunity that could finally give you and Ethan some financial security. The room seems to tilt. All these years, I'd thought Lydia's behavior came from simple sibling rivalry. But this is calculated, targeted. A systematic attempt to dismantle everything we've built. I'm saved from responding by the arrival of more guests. Lydia squeezes my arm, whispering, "It's for your own good, little sister. Dad would have wanted you to have a real career. Not this. Distraction." She glides away to greet the newcomers. Leaving me standing alone in the barn my husband and I renovated with our own hands. I turn to a half-arranged centerpiece and mechanically adjust the wildflowers. Then I stop. My hands fall to my sides. I stand taller, breathing deeply. This isn't about being a good sister anymore. This is about truth. The barn door opens, and Sophie appears, radiant in her casual clothes, her wedding dress still safely hidden away upstairs. "Mom, everything okay?" I open my mouth to reassure her, my default response after years of smoothing things over. But the words don't come. "Aunt Lydia tried to convince me to move to California," Sophie says quietly. "Said my talents were wasted here, just like yours." Something shifts inside me. This isn't just about me anymore. This is about the future my daughter has chosen. Our legacy. "I'm proud of our ranch," Sophie continues, her voice fierce. "Don't let her ruin today." I pull her into a hug, inhaling the scent of her shampoo, the same brand I've used for years. "I won't. I promise. Today will be perfect." And it will be, because I've finally realized what needs to be done. I'll let the day unfold as planned, but with contingencies in place. Let Lydia think she's winning for now. Ethan finds me later, his expression grim. "I heard what Lydia's been saying. I've been documenting everything." Our ranch foreman, Jackson, approaches next. "Need me to handle any disruptions, Mrs. Lewis?" he asks, loyalty evident in his weathered face. My best friend Martha arrives, hugging me fiercely. "Just say the word," she whispers. "I'll run interference with Queen Lydia all day if needed." Wilson Hayes, our local banker, arrives early for the ceremony. He pulls me aside with a meaningful look. "Just confirming our meeting Monday at the Four Seasons?" "The partnership paperwork is ready." One by one, my allies appear. People who see the value in what we've built, who understand that success isn't measured in designer labels or corner offices. With quiet efficiency, I remove Lydia's wedding planner from the preparations. The ranch staff restore our original decorations. The morning ceremony proceeds beautifully, with Sophie radiant in her gown and Lydia watching from the front row, her expression sour beneath her designer sunglasses. It's a victory, but a hollow one. The emotional toll visible only to Ethan, who squeezes my hand as we watch our daughter exchange vows. The real confrontation looms at the reception, and this time, I'm ready. I scan the reception hall, taking in the elegant transformation of our rustic barn. Twinkle lights cast a warm glow over polished wood tables adorned with wildflower centerpieces. Everything is beautiful, exactly as Sophie wanted. Yet beneath the surface perfection, I feel tension coiling tight as a spring. Across the room, Lydia corners Aunt Mabel near the gift table. Even from this distance, I can read Lydia's body language, head tilted sympathetically, hand touching Aunt Mabel's arm in false concern. "Such a shame about Catherine's choices," she says just loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. "All that potential." Aunt Mabel glances my way, confusion crossing her face. I offer a reassuring smile while my stomach knots. Richard, Lydia's husband, holds court near the bar. His voice carries as he gestures expansively toward the windows overlooking our pastures. "Properties like this are actually excellent investment opportunities," he announces to a cluster of men in expensive suits. Land values in this region are criminally undervalued. I press my lips together, reaching for a passing champagne flute to steady myself. Sophie appears at my side, radiant in her wedding gown. "You okay, Mom?" she whispers. "Perfect," I assure her, squeezing her hand. "This is your day. Don't worry about anything else." Sophie's eyes narrow as she follows my gaze to Lydia, who now stands near the dessert table, speaking to a group of Sophie's college friends. Imagine what Catherine could have been. Lydia sighs dramatically. Harvard Business School, top of her class. Now she serves beef for a living. I notice Sophie's college roommate Lisa frowning, her phone held casually at waist level, red recording light blinking. My eyebrows raise slightly in surprise. "Go enjoy your husband," I tell Sophie, nodding toward Tom waiting on the dance floor. "Everything's under control." As dinner service begins, I move through the room, stopping to check that everything runs smoothly. Near the kitchen entrance, I overhear two of Lydia's LA friends expressing surprise. "This beef is incredible," a woman in a designer dress murmurs. "Better than any steakhouse in San Diego." "Apparently it's all from their ranch," her companion replies. "Completely organic. My brother-in-law's been trying to get their supplier info for his restaurants for months." Warmth spreads through my chest. I catch Ethan's eye across the room where he chats with a group of men who lean in, listening intently. One of them jots something in his phone as Ethan gestures toward the mountains visible through the windows. "The elevation affects the soil composition," I hear him explain. "We've developed a specific mineral supplement that enhances flavor while supporting sustainable grazing practices." The men nod, clearly impressed. One hands Ethan a business card. I smile to myself, noticing how a subtle shift has occurred in the room. Guests approach me with genuine questions about our operation. Several ask for ranch tours tomorrow. With each authentic interaction, I stand taller, more confident in the life we've built. Then I spot Lydia approaching, gold envelope clutched in one hand. She corners me near the cake table, her smile tight as a fist. "Time for my toast," she says. "You'll thank me later." "What are you planning, Lydia?" She leans in, perfume clouding between us. "Just a little announcement. An investment opportunity to help you and Ethan." Her voice drops. "I've found buyers interested in portions of your land. The offer is generous enough to get you back on your feet. Maybe even restart somewhere with actual potential." I study her face, seeing the absolute certainty there. She truly believes she's rescuing me. "Our books are in order, Lydia," I say quietly. "We don't need rescue." Her expression hardens. "An MBA serving beef? Dad's education money wasted." Something finally snaps inside me, a lifetime of accommodating, of stepping back, of keeping peace. "I built something authentic," I reply, voice steady. "What have you built?" Her eyes widen in genuine shock. Then tears well up, not from hurt but from the realization her manipulation has failed. "You think dirt under your fingernails is success?" she hisses. "You could have been someone." I'm about to respond when Martha appears, champagne flutes in hand. "Catherine, there you are. Sophie's looking for you, something about cutting the cake." Lydia wipes her eyes quickly, composing herself. I mouth a silent thank you to Martha as I step away. Across the room, I notice Ethan speaking quietly to the venue manager, who nods and positions himself near the microphone stand. Sophie and Tom stand together near the center of the room, a protective circle of friends forming around them. Several of our ranch employees have moved into the room, casually positioning themselves near key points. Wilson Hayes, our banker, slips outside with his phone pressed to his ear. When he returns moments later, he catches my eye and nods, a small smile playing at his lips. Dinner service continues, servers presenting our premium organic beef with elegant flourishes. The room fills with appreciative murmurs. "This is better than any steakhouse in San Diego," someone declares loudly. Lydia attempts to dismiss the compliments with a wave of her hand. "It's just beef," she says to anyone who will listen. "There's a wonderful vegan restaurant in Beverly Hills that does amazing things with mushrooms." But her comments fall flat. I watch Richard's expression shift from smug certainty to confusion as guest after guest raves about the food. He studies the room with new eyes, reassessing. With each compliment, I feel my confidence growing. This is what we built, not just a ranch, but a legacy of quality, sustainability, and integrity. Lisa continues recording discreetly from different positions around the room. Wilson Hayes texts someone, his eyes never leaving the unfolding scene. Martha moves about taking photos for the wedding album, focusing particularly on Lydia and Richard's increasingly tight expressions. Ethan catches my eye across the room and gives me a subtle nod. Everything's in place. I decide to let events unfold naturally. We've spent years building our reputation, our business, our life. We have nothing to prove, certainly not to Lydia. The clinking of metal against glass cuts through conversation. Lydia stands, tapping her spoon against her champagne flute, that gold envelope now held prominently in her other hand. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. "I have another announcement and a gift for the couple," she announces, voice carrying across the suddenly quiet room. As she prepares to speak, I notice 3 people in business attire enter through the back doors. Wilson Hayes turns slightly, acknowledging them with a nod. I take a deep breath, smoothing my dress as I stand a little straighter. After years of stepping back, of keeping the peace, of letting Lydia's narrative go unchallenged, I make a different choice. Let's see just how far Lydia will go, I think, watching her raise her glass with that condescending smile firmly in place. The battle lines are drawn, and for once, I'm ready. Ethan catches my eye from across the room and gives me an almost imperceptible nod. We've been waiting for this moment. When Catherine graduated with her MBA, Lydia continues, her smile fixed. We all had such high hopes. A corner office in Boston, perhaps, or a consulting firm in New York. She sighs dramatically, but instead, she chose this. Dirt under her fingernails instead of a manicure. A ripple of uncomfortable murmurs spreads through the guests. Martha, my best friend since high school, shifts in her seat, her fingers tightening around her napkin. Even Sophie's college friends exchange glances, clearly uncomfortable with Lydia's backhanded compliments. I've often wondered what might have been, Lydia says, lifting her glass higher, if Catherine had actually used her education for something substantial. I take a sip of water, keeping my expression neutral, while I make deliberate eye contact with Wilson Hayes. The banker gives me a subtle wink before checking his watch. Lydia reaches for the gold envelope that has been propped against her champagne flute. So, to celebrate both Sophie's wedding and what I hope will be a new chapter for the whole family, Richard and I would like to present the happy couple with this. She withdraws a check with a flourish. A down payment for a real home in Los Angeles, where opportunities actually exist, where Sophie and Tom won't have to waste their potential the way. Shocked gasps ripple through the crowd. Tom's parents exchange alarmed glances while Sophie's shoulders tense visibly. I remain perfectly still, taking another small sip of water while Lydia builds to her crescendo. Which brings me to my other announcement. Lydia continues, clearly mistaking the guests' shock for approval. Richard has brought some business partners today who specialize in helping families like Catherine's escape from situations like this. Richard stands, smooth and confident in his tailored suit. We've analyzed the property values in this region, and while most of this land is, frankly, worthless, especially that northern acreage, we believe we can help find investors willing to take it off your hands. He begins reaching into his jacket pocket for business cards. We've prepared some preliminary offers that would allow Catherine and Ethan to relocate somewhere more suitable, while still maintaining a small hobby farm if they insist on keeping animals. Several of Richard's associates begin distributing their cards to nearby tables. One of them, a balding man with an expensive watch, leans toward an elderly couple and whispers something about rescuing family assets. The smugness in their expressions is unmistakable. They believe they've won before the battle has even begun. Ethan and I exchange a glance but remain silent. Our moment is coming. A chair scrapes against the wooden floor as Wilson Hayes stands. "Excuse me," he says, his voice carrying the weight of his 65 years and the respect he commands in this community. I believe my colleagues have arrived. Lydia turns, confusion flickering across her perfect features. "Ladies and gentlemen," Wilson says, gesturing toward the entrance where 3 people in business attire now stand. "May I introduce Raymond Holt, Vice President of Culinary Partnerships for the Four Seasons Hotels." Mr. Holt, a distinguished man with silver at his temples, steps forward. "I apologize for the interruption, but we simply couldn't miss the opportunity to celebrate with our newest supplier. The timing is too perfect." "Supplier?" Lydia repeats, her voice suddenly small. Yes, Mr. Holt continues with a warm smile directed at me. Lewis Heritage Ranch has just finalized a $3.1 million annual contract to provide sustainable beef and organic produce to 5 of our luxury hotels across the western United States. The room erupts in surprised applause while servers appear with trays of champagne that Ethan had arranged to keep chilled and hidden until exactly this moment. "If I may, Mr. Holt says, accepting a glass, "I'd like to propose the proper toast to excellence in sustainable agriculture and to the Lewis family, whose business acumen has created a model operation that combines profitability with environmental stewardship." Lydia's mouth opens and closes without sound, the gold envelope dangling forgotten from her fingertips. Sophie steps forward, her wedding dress catching the light as she moves to stand beside me. "Many of you know I studied agricultural business at Montana State," she says, her voice steady and proud. "What you might not know is that I'll be taking over management of our specialty crop division after the honeymoon. Mom has been preparing me to expand our operations for years." Our ranch foreman, Bill, stands from his table. "The Lewis operation employs 58 local people now," he adds. "Started with just 5 of us 15 years ago. Best wages in the county, too." Martha rises next, opening her tablet to display photographs on the screen behind the head table. "I've documented the transformation of this land," she says, scrolling through images showing our first season the eroded soil, the struggling seedlings contrasted with today's thriving fields and healthy cattle. This wasn't luck. This was strategic planning and innovation. Tom stands beside Sophie, taking her hand. "Which is why," he says, looking at his new bride with admiration, "I've decided to join the family business after our honeymoon. My engineering degree will help implement the automated irrigation systems Catherine designed last year." Mr. Holt nods approvingly. "This is precisely what caught our attention," he says. "MBA principles applied to sustainable agriculture. It's the future of the industry." I watch as Lydia's carefully constructed narrative crumbles around her. Lisa, Sophie's college roommate, snaps a photo, perfectly capturing my sister's stunned expression, lips parted, eyes wide, champagne glass tilted dangerously in her slackened grip. Richard scrambles to collect the business cards he distributed, awkwardly stuffing them back into his pocket. I catch fragments of his whispered conversation with Lydia. "You said they were struggling," she hisses, color rising in her cheeks. Richard swallows visibly. "I may have misunderstood some things," he admits, tugging at his collar. "Actually, I consulted with Ethan about some investments last year. I didn't realize it was related to this expansion." Their united front splinters under the weight of public exposure. Lydia turns toward me, her expression cycling rapidly between shock, anger, and calculation before settling into a brittle smile. "I always believed in Catherine's potential," she says loudly, attempting to salvage her dignity. "This is exactly the kind of success I knew she could achieve with the right guidance." No one appears convinced, least of all me. But as the champagne flows and guests crowd around to congratulate us, I find that my need for Lydia's approval has vanished like morning mist under the Montana sun. What remains is something far more valuable, the truth, finally revealed in the full light of day. I spot Lydia's perfectly coiffed hair bobbing through the crowd, making a beeline toward me. The bathroom corridor provides little escape. I take a deep breath, squaring my shoulders as she approaches, her designer heels clicking against the hardwood floor with military precision. "Why didn't you tell me about Four Seasons?" Lydia hisses, her voice low but sharp. Her mascara remains immaculate despite the slight redness around her eyes. "I would have helped announce it properly. It wasn't finalized until yesterday," I reply, keeping my voice neutral. The half-truth slips out easily. The contract was signed 3 weeks ago, but Wilson arranged the executive's appearance specifically for today. Lydia's perfectly manicured hand lands on my forearm, her grip firmer than necessary. "Catherine, you misunderstood my intentions. I was just trying to help you present yourself better." Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. "We should announce the partnership together, successful sisters from the Lewis family. Think how proud Dad would be of us both." The old Catherine would have yielded, would have shared the spotlight to keep peace. That woman died somewhere between Lydia's arrival yesterday and the cake cutting an hour ago. "I appreciate the thought," I say, gently removing her hand from my arm. Through the reception hall doorway, I spot Richard cornering one of the Four Seasons executives, no doubt revising his pitch to include family connections to the luxury market. Aunt Martha, Dad's older sister, approaches us with a glass of champagne in her trembling hand. At 83, she remains sharp as a tack. "Lydia was just telling me you're ashamed of your family connections, Catherine," Aunt Martha says, her voice carrying just enough to turn heads nearby. "Said that's why you didn't mention the hotel deal to any of us." I feel the flush creeping up my neck. Beyond Aunt Martha, I see Richard gesturing toward me, overheard fragments of his conversation, suggesting my success came primarily through family contacts. Several wedding guests shift uncomfortably, the transparent pivot too obvious to ignore. Sophie stands near the cake table, her face flushing with anger as she overhears Lydia's clumsy attempt to co-opt our family's success through a sudden embrace of heritage and family values. 20 years of accommodating Lydia crystallize into perfect clarity. This moment, Sophie's wedding day, deserves better than another round of manipulation. "Excuse me," I say politely to Aunt Martha, then walk deliberately toward the small platform where the band had played earlier. The microphone stands ready. I tap it once, the gentle feedback bringing conversations to a natural pause. Faces turn toward me, Sophie and Tom, Ethan, Wilson Hayes and the Four Seasons executives, Martha with her camera, and finally, Lydia, her expression hovering between concern and calculation. "I'd like to thank everyone for being here to celebrate Sophie and Tom," I begin, my voice steadier than expected. "And I'd especially like to thank my sister Lydia for making today's success even sweeter through contrast." A ripple of surprised laughter moves through the crowd. Lydia's smile freezes in place. "My father paid for my MBA because he believed education created opportunity. He was right, but not in the way most expected." I gesture toward the screens around the reception hall, where Wilson Hayes has quietly queued up the first slides. "What Harvard Business School gave me were tools. What my father's example gave me was the wisdom to apply those tools where they mattered most." The screens fill with images of our ranch's sustainable farming innovations, water reclamation systems, solar arrays powering the barns, specialized breeding programs for hardier, more efficient livestock. Many of you don't know that Lewis Heritage Ranch was nearly bankrupt when Ethan and I took it over. My father's land, but none of his knack for business. I pause as the next slides appear, showing before and after photos of the property's transformation. What you're seeing isn't just a farm. It's a laboratory for agricultural innovation that now employs 58 people year-round and sustains nearly 200 Montana families through our supply chain. Financial growth charts appear next, showing consistent upward trajectories without revealing specific numbers. Then testimonials from employees about our work environment and fair practices. The Four Seasons partnership didn't happen overnight or through connections. I nod toward Raymond Holt, who raises his glass in acknowledgement. It grew from 5 years of proving that ethical farming could be profitable, sustainable, and scalable. The next slide shows me at agriculture conferences as a featured speaker, followed by the journal article naming Lewis Heritage most innovative agricultural operation in the Northwest. Some of you might have wondered why our daughter Sophie chose an agricultural business degree. I continue, smiling at my daughter. It wasn't obligation, it was strategy. Just as some might not know, Ethan was an agricultural economics professor before he became a rancher. We built this together, deliberately, step by step. The screens switch to data about the ranch's economic impact on our community. I watch faces in the crowd shift from curiosity to genuine respect. Today, I'm announcing something else. I say, my voice strong now. Lewis Heritage Ranch is establishing a $60,000 agricultural scholarship fund for students who've been discouraged from farming careers. Because success isn't measured in designer labels or zip codes, it's measured in lives improved. The applause starts slowly, then builds into a standing ovation. The Four Seasons executives raise their glasses toward us. Sophie breaks from the crowd to embrace me, her whispered, "I love you, Mom," worth more than any business deal. Across the room, Lydia stands alone, the crowd having migrated away from her corner. Even Richard has abandoned her side to approach Ethan, notepad in hand, quietly asking about investment advice. I make my way through well-wishers, accepting congratulations with genuine gratitude until I reach Lydia. Her isolation is physically palpable, a bubble of empty space around her expensive dress. "Lydia," I say, loud enough for nearby guests to hear, "there's always room for family at our table. When you're ready to see what we've built, really see it, you're welcome at the ranch anytime." For the first time since we were children, I see tears in my sister's eyes that aren't calculated for effect. Something genuine breaks through her perfect facade, perhaps recognition, perhaps regret. "You never needed rescuing, did you?" she says quietly. "No, but I needed to believe that myself." I touch her arm gently, then turn back to my family. As the reception continues, I notice Lydia standing alone near the exit, her designer heel sinking awkwardly into the soft ranch soil. The perfect metaphor for a worldview built on appearances rather than substance. She extracts her shoe with difficulty, leaving a small hole in the earth, a mark that will disappear with the first rain, just like her power over me. Sophie's friends surround her with congratulations, while Ethan catches my eye across the room, his smile speaking volumes. 20 years of building something meaningful together, something that will outlast trends and market fluctuations and designer heels. Something real. I review the new contracts spread across my desk, the October sunlight streaming through the ranch office windows. 6 months have passed since Sophie's wedding, and Lewis Heritage Ranch has blossomed beyond even my ambitious projections. The sustainable practices we've implemented have caught attention far beyond Montana's borders. I run my finger along the embossed plaque recently mounted on the wall, Agricultural Innovation Excellence, 2025. My eyes drift to the framed photos on my desk. Sophie and Tom standing proudly by their first planting, their faces glowing with purpose. They've taken to ranch life with a passion that sometimes makes my chest tighten with pride. I've found a peace here I never knew was possible, a sense of purpose that feels like coming home to myself after years of doubting my path. The mail delivery notification pings on my phone. I gather the contracts into a neat stack and head outside, breathing in the crisp autumn air. The ranch spreads before me, fields ready for harvest, cattle grazing on distant hills, workers calling cheerful greetings as they finish their day. This land speaks a language I've grown to understand, one of patience and persistence. Among the stack of envelopes, a cream-colored one catches my eye. The return address makes my fingers pause. Lydia Cole, Beverly Hills. The first contact since Sophie's wedding. I settle onto the porch swing, watching the sun begin its descent toward the mountains as I open the letter. Lydia's familiar handwriting flows across expensive stationery. Catherine. I find myself in an unexpected position. My company has collapsed under the weight of poor management decisions and considerable debt. The legal costs alone are overwhelming. The letter continues with explanations and justifications before arriving at its purpose. A request for $60,000 to cover legal expenses, the exact amount I donated to the Agricultural Scholarship Fund. The tone is still dismissive, still assumes I'll drop everything to rescue her, but lacks the former power to make me question my worth. I fold the letter and tuck it into my pocket, watching the workers head home to their families as twilight approaches. The weight of obligation I've carried since childhood doesn't settle on my shoulders as it once would have. Later, I open my journal and write, "Enabling isn't loving. Sometimes love means boundaries." The truth of those words resonates through me as I close the leather cover. This family I've built, this land I've nurtured, the community we've fostered, they deserve my protection, my full presence. For the first time, choosing not to send money brings no guilt, only clarity. The next morning, I send a different kind of response information about a therapist specializing in financial recovery and an offer to pay for 6 months of financial counseling. "I won't enable you," I write, "but I will support growth if you want it." 2 weeks later, Sophie and Tom share their news: a grandchild on the way. That same day, we select 5 new scholarship recipients, bright young minds who see agriculture not as a fallback, but as a calling. Success means different things to different people. I tell Jasmine, a scholarship recipient I'm mentoring through her business plan for sustainable honey production. Build something that feeds others literally and spiritually. The days grow shorter as winter approaches. Ethan and I sit on the porch swing one evening, wrapped in blankets, watching the sunset paint the harvested fields in gold. My phone buzzes with a notification. It's from Lydia, a photo from a farmer's market with local produce arranged in a woven basket. The caption reads, "Bought local, thought of you." I study the image, noting the business cards visible at the edge: Cole Consulting, Eco-Brand Development, her small business showing promise. No resentment rises in me, only a quiet appreciation for her journey. "Growth looks good on you," I text back. "Let's talk soon." The ranch settles into evening quiet. From the kitchen window, I watch workers heading home, their headlights creating a constellation of light moving across the landscape. I open my journal one last time today. It wasn't about proving Lydia wrong. I write. It was about living right. The simple life isn't small, it's just authentic. Sometimes the best comeback is simply living well without apology. "Mom, Dad, dinner's ready," Sophie calls from the house. I close my journal, noticing the soil still under my fingernails as I run my hand through my silver-streaked hair. The land never lets you forget where your true wealth grows. "Coming home," I call back, the word home lingering in the golden light.